We are going live. Starting up. And here we are. We are live. Welcome to this is one of our 30 Days of More live streams. My name is Emily. If you're just new joining here, leadership coach, mama, business mentor, and I'm joined here by Rebecca, who is a long-term client of mine, a marketing expert, and we're going to be talking about her story. And specifically because, Rebecca, you had some pretty insane results this last year. And I think that the Made for More program, the last time we did it, was such an inciting point for you. So I would love, before we get into the story, for you just to introduce yourself for anybody joining live who might not know you already.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, Emily. And yes, it's been such a pleasure working with you over these last couple of years. I think we've now been working together 2 or 3 years together. And it's really been a great, it's been such a great growth and evolution for me. My name is Rebecca Civi. I live in Washington, D.C. I've worked in communications consulting for my whole career, and have evolved into what is now a freelance marketing consultant. And it's just been really transformational. That started about a year plus ago, a year and a half ago. And when I participated in the Made for More back in like February of last year, I was really new to the game. Um,
You were new.
and
You had worked for somebody else
right,
in all
for
the years
years. Yep.
in a number of different roles. Like you were somebody
Yeah,
who has a lot of different, like vast expertise in the marketing world, working with different size companies.
that's right.
Hey, baby girl, if you're gonna be here, you gotta let us have our conversation, okay? Okay. But you decided, you were like, I want to do this for myself. I want to
That's
have
right.
more. I want to have more flexibility. I want to work with company. I want to work for causes that I feel really passionate about. And so that was around a little bit more than a year ago.
That's right. That's right. Thanks for that context. Uh, so yeah, it was very much like if I'm going to work this hard, I should be working this hard for me, for my clients, and not just for another organization. So that was really the impetus of, and Emily, you talk about this a lot in a lot of the work we do together, where we talk about like what's underneath. It's like what's in the soil. Like how are you like incubating these ideas? Because I still in the Mother Mind leadership training, which I'm actively participating in, we're still like, I'm like, oh, I don't know, like, do I need like a brand name? I need like a website, like some of the tactical things that I do for clients day in, day out, but it's such a struggle to do for myself. So long before we even got to thinking about those things, when we were working through the first round of Made for More, it was really around these like money stories, and it was about, you know, how money is so much more than just like what you're compensated. It can feel like what your self-worth is. Do you make too much? Do you not make enough? Gosh, like all of these stories that come into play. And it was so transformational to like put a spotlight on that for myself and realize that there were some kind of pre-programmed things that were no longer serving me as I was thinking about how to grow a business and step into a space that I really wanted to be in. Um, I think this is a little bit relevant, but I'm originally from the Midwest, so I feel like we were always raised to like be productive, and hard work gets
Work, yeah.
recognition, and don't brag, like put your head down, do the good work. And so what I had found is that I was doing that and I wasn't finding those types of results. The other thing that I think that was really transformational.
Doing hard
Sorry.
work. Jenna says, I'm from the Midwest and feel that deeply.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, thanks, Jenna. I agree. Yeah. And then I think the other piece of this, as a type A um, person working in a high pressure, fast paced environment, basically my entire career, was also this like very masculine way of thinking, which was something that at first I really bristled at the framing of masculine versus feminine, but now I've fully embraced it and it makes my life and my work so much better. So I think that's been a piece of this too, of thinking about the cyclical nature of work, and your creativity and how you bring things out into the world and bring things to market. That this linear, like, we do 5 things a day every day, like nobody, like, I mean, there's plenty of people who can do it, but I think tuning into like whatever rhythm or flow fits you has been something that's been really helpful for me. And especially as I lead teams, like making sure every team has that sense that they can have that ebb and flow, that, you know, productivity isn't necessarily just outputs. Sometimes productivity is inputs.
And that is, I'm so glad you brought that up because it's all connected.
Right.
Productivity, worth, money. Hey, little love. Yeah, that's what happens with the phone when you.
When you drop it.
She's trying to, like, she sees, we'll like stand the phone up to like
Oh,
FaceTime.
so she's like participating. Yeah.
Trying to do it, but she doesn't understand that she has to like put it on.
Mm.
So, okay. Yeah, I think that it's so important, and that is so much of the work that I do is like, and some of what we did inside of Made for More, right, is the rewriting of the beliefs that live on a body level, and
Right.
why I think it came up during why it comes up. It came up for you, and you were able to
Yep.
see, oh my gosh, I've made good money in my life. I've had a lot
Right.
of success, and yet I've still felt not enough.
Right.
I've still felt
Right.
scarcity around money.
Right.
And for you to look at that and see it as you were stepping onto this freelance entrepreneurial journey is so powerful because I'm like, do I want the spoiler alert first? But like, you had your first year of like in business for yourself.
Right.
And do you want to share your celebration with that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm
Full
happy to sell.
spotlight.
Yes, let's not bury the lead. Yeah, I during this
Like a
container,
said like a
yeah,
marketing.
yeah. Okay, let me just say it. I had the best year I've ever had financially. Full stop, period. Woo! Celebrate.
Woo!
Um,
The best year, the first year that you went out on your own, which very typically people are like, oh, it's going to take some time to build up, you should, and that can be true, that can be a path,
that's right.
but that wasn't your path.
That wasn't my path. And what I want to say to everyone sitting in this container, this made for more container, is that I remember very specifically. And I could go grab an old journal and look back at my notes, but very specifically, it was, okay, guys, like, come up with your most audacious goal, and then it was like double it. And so in my mind, I like put a number, and in this case, like, I feel like this year I'm not setting goals by numbers. I'm setting goals differently for myself because that's just where I'm at. But last year I was really like, okay, I'm going to set this financial goal, and I hit it. And again, like I said, it was like, okay, well, let's not dream too big. And it's as Emily coached at that time, over a year ago, it was like, okay, now double it, or like take whatever number you thought was audacious and like make it more, and like really bring that in. And I just find that so powerful. Um, because I was really like in my own head, I was like that little critique of like, you shouldn't want that much, or some of the things are like, you don't deserve that, or it will be impossible in your first year to do that. Like, allowing those little like inner critic bylines, and saying, let's put those aside. Like, you play a role, but you're not needed here. And so I think that was just really powerful for me. And it is kind of crazy to think that, like, setting a true intention can come to fruition. Um, yeah, it was just really powerful. It was just like very exciting that it actually happened.
Well, okay, and if I I want to come back to the why of why we do that exercise
Yeah,
because, and then, but first I want to say, like, part of also having this live stream is to recognize and celebrate
right.
Rebecca
Which I'm
for this
not good at.
for this huge win. This
Right.
huge win. She messaged me a few weeks ago and was like, "Oh my gosh, I did my taxes and I made more money. I made more money." than I've ever made.
Yeah, it's
And
true.
so there's always more work to do with our money, right? And I think even in this, like we see patterns that get to come out. But something that I recognize across the board with my clients is a failure to celebrate.
Right.
Because because for people it's different. For people there's a different reason underneath. Some people it's don't brag, right? Like that
Mm-hmm.
Midwest of like be humble. Some people it's a scarcity thing. If I celebrate it, I remember rewriting that story for myself because I had a grandfather who was successful and like had things taken from him, had things stolen
Yeah,
from him. So if you
that's
celebrate,
right.
if you share publicly, somebody could take it from you. That's an interesting choice of thing to play with, but sure. Um, and so we have these, and that's really what we are getting to inside of the Made for More and what you're getting a taste of in this 30 Days of More version that we're running on Substack is sometimes there is a strategy. There
Mm-hmm.
is like, okay, you need to strategize and you need to buckle down and just do the work. But for 99% of the women that I work with who are ambitious, who are high achievers, who are often on the edge of burnout or have been burned out, who don't want to be carrying their businesses, their careers all alone,
Mm-hmm.
and want to do it a different way, want to do it in a way that honors their body, that honors their femininity. One of the first things we have to do is rewrite the
Mm-hmm.
beliefs that come up when we have these big goals. And so the beliefs that we have these big goals, these beliefs that come up when we even talk about money.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we do inside of what we're doing inside of the 30 Days of More and inside of Made for More. And, the exercise of like double your goal, it's less about making it.
Mm-hmm.
It's less about making that number, but what happens when and this is something that we do a lot more in my higher ticket containers, like the Mother Mind, which you're a part of, is we blow up the thing. Okay, here's the little
Mm-hmm.
thing. It's like, oh, here's my little goal, or here's this little dream
Mm-hmm.
that I have, or here's this little thing. What happens when we 10x it? Because when
Yeah.
we 10x something, when we magnify something, one, we see the like its ability to grow.
Right.
We see what beliefs pop out, what beliefs in us of like that's too much, that's too big, that's too heavy, whatever the belief is in us. We
Mm-hmm.
see like logistically of like, oh, I can't really do this. This can't grow to a certain scale if I just keep doing it this way. It acts like a magnifier. And so that's always why we start with like set a big goal. What are you chewing on?
That's right. So let me jump in while you
Set a
help
big
with
goal.
get Sadie, making sure she's not doing anything she's not supposed to do.
Oh,
You,
oh, I know what she was. She was eating like a piece of paper. Yeah.
oh, love it, love it. Okay, great. Paper's fine. Paper's organic. It's fine. Um, so I'm sure that you're walking this group through a lot of the same exercise, and I just want to tell, like, from my perspective, the somatic exercise, and this was me starting to dip my toe into somatics, and I have spent a lot of time in the last year working with Emily and others on a lot of somatic practices, and have just found them completely transformational. But the exercise that really sticks out, and I know it's one of your offerings that you have like on a free, is the clarity chaos.
That's
And it
actually
was
week, right, Jenna? I think that's the right.
so, yeah, okay, so then this is a
That's the
great
one we're
preview.
doing this week, which is why it's
That's
so
perfect.
perfect that you're here.
That, yeah, and so I remember embodying these characters. And again, I don't want to spoil it since the audience hasn't had a chance to do it yet, but essentially, like, what was coming up for me as I was in these different places was something that I've seen in my real life and will continue to work on. Um, but almost this need of like calming the chaos, taming the chaos for me. I'm very, and in my roles as a marketing director, I'm also a very strong creative project manager. So knowing every detail, mapping out every worst case scenario, like this is something that helps me control my anxiety, and it's made me very good at my job. Um, but it's like always having to plan for the worst case scenario and the secondary worst case scenario, and like trying to like have it all figured out. And so it's funny because like that's not what clarity was, if that makes sense. Like that's actually the role that chaos played, was this being that needed to like think through everything. And what clarity was for me was like trusting in the expertise, trusting in the fact that you're going to be, you have enough, love this term, and then I use this, that that thanks to Emily has instilled in me. It's not the experience that I have, it's the wisdom I have, that I don't need to map everything out. Like wait for something to come and then you will figure out the solution. Um, and so for me, that's what clarity became, was this thing that actually, by definition was somebody who had the wisdom to know that you didn't need to know everything. And so it's just like a very powerful reframing for me, because again, in terms of my money story, it was like, well, but where's that next paycheck coming? When,
Right.
when will you, like, how will you know that you'll be okay? How will you make sure all the bills are paid? And realizing that, like, a full-time job is not that secure. Again, Washington, D.C. So like, I've got a lot of friends and no, like a lot of friends and
I'm
family in the
laughing,
last.
but not laughing right now. It's like we're really
Right,
seeing
like
that.
a lot of people who thought they had like secure government jobs, who've all been on, a careers taken away, and or and again, I don't want to get political about it. So just there's entire industries that like have shrunk or disappeared, and a lot of jobs and lots of people have left what was supposedly like the most secure industry or place to work. And so
Right.
this is all happening around me. And so I'm like, what is security? Security is trusting yourself to know. And then also just the evolution of where we are. Okay, because both Emily and I like astrology too. Um, Astrologically speaking, like it's helping your local community. It's like really digging into local community. And so it just makes me really excited as I enter into this. That well, I'm like we're almost we're about halfway through, right? We're in May. What we're doing this year, right? Like, what does that look like? And, like I said, I didn't set the same kind of audacious goal, but my goal is very different, which is kind of like, how do I sustain this? Like, how do I take my business and make it more sustainable given everything I now know? And that's kind of where I am now. Hi, sweetie girl. Hi, sweetie.
Okay, secret surprise that this live stream has also been an expansion of your nervous system if you are able to listen and continue. And Rebecca's doing an amazing job with the baby.
Oh, she's doing great. She's
I
doing
don't know if
great. Hi,
you can hear her.
sweetie. I
Yeah.
know.
She knows you. She probably knew she wanted to be a part of this, and now she
I
wants to.
know. I appreciate it, Sadie.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to just highlight something that you said because I feel like it's so important, especially right now, especially in this moment of history that we're in, but also true if you are someone who is devoted to living life from on your own terms, whether that means making a big move to like start a business or homeschool your children or whatever. Clarity isn't assurance. It comes from you even said it more eloquently, but it comes from like it's not assurance in anything external. It
That's
is
right.
an internal
That's right.
process. And that is
Yeah.
something that we're actively working because you can hear this. You can hear us say this of like, oh, clarity isn't anything outside of you. Confidence isn't anything outside of you. It comes within yourself. But when you actually feel that,
Yeah.
and you feel because your flavor of that, your the cue in your body that you're going into confusion and chaos and letting that
Hmm.
kind of run the show versus like coming back to your inner truth.
Right.
No, you can't play with that one, honey. You have like a tea set here. Like, nope, that's like that was your great grandmother's. Yum, 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 yum.
Yeah. Be
Can we
careful.
make some tea? Should we have Rebecca over for tea?
Oh my gosh, I would love to come for tea sweets. Yeah.
Yeah, just to have that experience in your body is something that will shift everything for you
Right. Right.
because
That's right.
you no longer have to like hold on so much, which is a lot of what we've been taught about success about money, about power, about business is that we have to like be this. I'm like,
That's right. I know we're
so,
clenching, we're squeezing, we're trying to hold it all in.
and you wonder why that doesn't feel good. It at some point it doesn't feel good. It may, and
Yeah.
I'm writing a book right now, and so I'm like going back to like 10 years ago. My love, no, I don't want to break that. Okay, come here. We're gonna move this. Yeah, I'm like going back to like the very beginning of my career when
Right.
when I worked in DC at a big four public accounting firm, and like I was successful, or I believed I was
Right.
successful because of all the things on the outside. I had the job, I had the apartment, I had the like
Yeah.
a job that came with the 401k and the savings and travel and praise, but like it didn't feel. It was like fun for a little bit because I was good at it, and there is
Right.
a high that comes with that, but it wasn't my soul's work, and ultimately it started
Right.
coming at the expense of my health.
Mm-hmm.
And anyways, there's a way that we can like hold on to that
Mm-hmm.
posture of this is what it means to be successful, and this is what it means to be yeah, successful. And there comes a point where like we can't hold that anymore. And so I'd love also for you to share what just whatever you're comfortable. Like you didn't grind last year. You worked
Nope.
hard, but you also had a really big life thing happen to you.
That's right. Yeah, I did. So yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm happy to share. So
You can just, I
I'm
mean,
hes
share
yeah,
this.
no. I'm
Like,
hesitating, but I think it's really important to be super transparent. If you would have asked the Rebecca in the Made for More in February, going through this chaos and clarity exercise, struggling with this idea that I I have to now accept that I can't know every path, or have the I've lifted the veil that like insurance through an employer is security, a steady paycheck once every 2 weeks is security, all of those things. Like I'm pulling all of this the veil back, and I'm realizing that those are false senses of security. um and then you come to kind of mid-year, I'm kind of rolling on some great projects, really feeling in my groove. um and in fact, I remember very specifically, it was I was having a great weekend with my sister and my nephews. They're local to DC and Virginia. And coming home, and I'm like, I'm gonna get my to-do list done, and like I've got like everything mapped out of what I'm gonna work on Monday. And I end up having a very major medical emergency. An ER visit turns into a hospital stay, turns into a very major surgery. um, and so at the moment, in one moment, and again, like, yeah, like in one moment you're like, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. Tomorrow turned into like a month plus later when I was finally recovered to a point where I could at least start kind of checking back in on work. Um, so, and this was a very physically taxing medical situation. And the recovery, I would say, like, was really difficult for the first 6 months. So I'm just kind of coming out of it now. And, you know, I would say that one of the biggest victories, even in opening this conversation, was that for the longest time, I couldn't say I had a successful year. I said I had a successful year despite a medical emergency, because I couldn't decouple it. It was like I couldn't just celebrate. It was like it felt very wrapped up into this thing that was really negative. It was really hard. It was the hardest thing that I've ever been through. And that's where I circle back to the opening statement, which is, if you would have asked me in February, what would be the hardest thing you ever did? It would be like, well, what if you have a medical emergency? And what if like your insurance doesn't cover it? And what if you can't work? And what if? And I did that, and I lived it, and I still had a great year. And um, I got the care I needed. I had the support from my community and my colleagues and my clients. And I don't wish what I went through on anyone. I hope no one ever has to have something like that happen, but it's okay. Um, because it's like it, again, this comes back to this trusting the clarity that like you will you will be resourced and you will have what you need. Um, and so it's just a gift. That to me is a gift, in terms of a lesson that I've been able to learn. So yeah, I think that's something, and I feel like there's a bunch of other lessons when I think from that. One of my other favorite sayings that I've now had is like, do 100, not 1,000. Like we don't always have to do like those small incremental steps, um, on a daily practice or a weekly practice can really go a long way. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting emotional because I do remember in it for you, and I also think that this is life.
yeah,
We have this, and part of what keeps us stuck in our money, in
yeah,
our how we feel about our work and our lives is waiting for perfect. Like,
right,
oh, well, perfect or this or that. And like, even if you that's not the story consciously you're telling yourself it is, but the reality is that especially as we get older, there always are things. I mean, seriously, with children, there's like a child that doesn't nap, there's a child that's sick,
that's
then
right.
they're like getting teeth, and so we really have to learn to meet the moment and
Yeah,
that and surrender to what was already unfolding. Let
right.
yourself be. Oh no, you can't change the settings here, baby. Thank you. Oh no. I know. I
Hi, sweetie.
I know.
Um,
Same
no,
time,
and I think,
like we can't
yeah,
we can't wait for the perfect moment. We have to take the moment and we have to surrender to what's happening and
that's right.
literally like make the best out of it, but move through it. And I really just want to say, I witnessed you, like you came into the chat like the day after, and you were like, so I had a medical emergency and I'm doing okay, but I'm not going to be on the live call. But I'm using these practices, and and so you really did.
Yeah,
You met the moment, you met your body, and you were and you held in it too.
yeah, yeah. It's pretty transformational. And I want to say, I said that I like have now used a lot of somatic practices, and I have to say the same sort of transformation I'm describing in this clarity versus chaos exercise that many of you will have the opportunity to participate in. Post surgery, I had a lot of anger, a lot of anger, um, and worked through that with a somatic practitioner who specializes in medical um, instances. But what I can tell you is that like through this work with Emily and through this work with others, what I've learned is that like I was like, I have worked so hard, my body has been through so much, we are not going to carry anymore here, we are not going to carry this event in our body. And I can like very genuinely say that I don't hold any anger or anything that comes from this like experience in my body, because I was like, I know that the tools exist to make sure we move through it and we move on to the next thing. I can also say that, the transformation that happened for me during Made for More was why, even when I was in recovery very early on, I was like, I know I need this. I know I need the Mother Mind Leadership training because I know that there's pieces of this that are really working. And at a time when it was so front of mind back in September and October of the investments I had to start making and like recovering my physical body, that it was like I want to make sure I keep up with like the work when I'm ready to really get back into work mode, that I'm doing it in a way that is going to create the same sort of like long-term foundations I need for the success I want. So yeah, so maybe right now I'm not building for like Q2 Rebecca or Q3 Rebecca or Q4. Like we're talking about for the next, decade. We're creating all of the infrastructure to really grow, which is to me a really cool way to look at it. Like I don't, oh my goodness, girl. Oh my goodness, girl. Sadie.
You're
Hi.
building, you're looking long term, which is
That's right.
honestly CEO thinking, and that's how I mean. I like my like own somebody is coming up as like ew, but that's like also how we think what wealth is.
Right.
Wealth is not just money. When you think of wealth, maybe there's something. Clearly, there's always new layers. There's something here coming up for me, but like wealth is long term. Wealth
Right.
is what you're able to do beyond yourself. Wealth is what you're able to pass down to children or nephews or your community,
Right.
and you're you're thinking that way, and so this is just the beginning, which is so exciting, and I'm so excited
Yeah.
to continue to watch what unfolds for you in this next year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. I'm like, yeah, it was great to celebrate, period, but also like knowing what I've been through on top of it all. It's it's such a it's such a great way to just say like let's just let like being in business be the challenge this year.
Yes.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
looking forward to.
I love that. I love that. Anything else that you want to share? Any other like parting words of wisdom or anything that you want to celebrate before we close up?
I would say that even celebrating, like I've gotten a lot more comfortable, like sharing the story, doing these types of things, really stepping into leadership and what leading really looks like. So more to come.
Yeah, definitely. More to come. More to come. Okay, we did it. Do you want to say bye bye? Can you
Bye
wave to
bye.
everybody? You say see you
I'll see
soon.
you soon.
I know after like this morning, I was like, we should have just arranged to do this in person. So,
Oh,
or next time.
next
Note for
time. Yeah, for sure.
so also, where can people, if anybody, are you looking for clients right now? Are you open to new work right
Oh,
now? If
yeah,
so,
I'm definitely open to new work. So if anybody is interested in a marketing consult, like, when you get a hold of Emily, she can put you in touch with me and um, we can connect.
and do you want to share like special, like who would be best suited for this? Who do you love working with? Are you working with people that are out just in DC or
No, I
are you?
work with people anywhere. Yeah. So I would say my background is really in uh, yeah, using creative tools and helping with the folks who like so creative project management if you were in a larger agency. Um, but I also know how to like bring them to life, like from the technical perspective. So it's like, I really want a insert thing here. Like, I want a new website. Like helping you understand like what all the pieces and parts are, helping you dream big, but also like the brass tacks of like what it takes to get done. Um, so yeah, I do like all different sizes. I have clients that are, large, a part of large. I have clients where we're working with like designers and editors and things like that, and then other ones that are just like small, like working on an email marketing campaign and like growing a business slowly, like through like really thoughtful efforts. So yeah, nice range.
Yeah, and what you really specialize into is like the like
That's right.
helping
The storytelling. Yep.
their story. So
Help.
not just don't go to Rebecca if you just want to like viral post, although probably she could help you get
Right.
there. But yeah, like telling the story of a brand in creative ways, like she said.
That's right.
So amazing. Well, thank you so much, Rebecca,
Thank
for your
you.
time. Thank you for your I don't even know what the word I want to say is, just like grace. That's a good one. The grace. Thank you to everyone for your grace, for also welcoming Sadie into this conversation.
It
There's
was it
something
was a group convo.
she was supposed to be a part of. And if you're not already subscribed, you can subscribe to Birthing the New on Substack to be a part of, yeah, I know, the 30 Days of More. We have free posts going up every week, some money challenges, some really awesome pieces where we're reframing how you look at these big feelings, like we talked about here today, like how you look at your confusion, how you look at your overwhelm. And so that's free. Everybody can join for that. But if you pay to subscribe, which it is insanely affordable, you can also get the somatic practices that Rebecca was talking about. We have a few core emotions that we're moving through, and you'll get access to the archive even if you join halfway through. So come on over, join, and if you're joining just for the money challenges, please comment, restack. If you're joining for the practices, comment, join into our private chat. I always love to hear how these transformational practices are landing for you. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. Thank you again, Rebecca. Have a beautiful
Thank you,
rest,
everybody.
and I will see you soon. Bye.